Hi everyone, this is Kalyan Kumar and welcome once again to Chemistry Tutorials. We've already seen optical activity in the previous video. We learned what are optically active compounds, how they turn the plane polarized light, why they turn the plane polarized light, even though we didn't go into the physics part of it, into the micro details of how the light is actually turned. But the fact of the matter is we understood what is it that a molecule needs in order to be able to show optical property. Now, to be more rigorous in that, to be able to understand really what is it in a molecule from the chemistry point of view, how to judge a molecule whether it is optically active or not. To understand all of that, we need to first go into some basics of symmetry elements. So this particular video is about symmetry elements and various types of symmetry that exist in a molecule. So let's get the ball rolling. So symmetry elements and symmetry types. And the first thing that we're going to look in this are the symmetry elements themselves. Now, there are basically 4 elements of symmetry that we need to study today. So remember, there are various ways in assessing the symmetry of a molecule, and why we assess a molecule symmetry is something which will become apparent once we start using these symmetries to identify a molecule's optical activity. But before that, let's understand what these symmetry elements are. So there are primarily 4 symmetry elements that we are going to talk about, that we need to study depending on the wide variety of the courses that we have. So let's get with the symmetry elements. The first one that comes up is the proper axis of symmetry or axis of symmetry, and which I will quite often refer to as the AOS. Now this is an imaginary line drawn through an object about which, if the object is rotated by an angle theta which is less than 360 degrees, it should result in the object which is exactly identical, or you can say indistinguishable from the previous object. So basically, an axis of symmetry is that imaginary line which will pass through the object, and you can rotate the object by any angle. Make sure it is less than 360, and by rotating it with an appropriate angle, if you get the object which looks exactly the same as the previous one, as the one which was there before you rotated it, or you can say it is indistinguishable from the one. So if you are given, okay, this is the molecule, this is how it looked like before rotating, this is the molecule after rotating, if they are exactly the same, identical, indistinguishable, we call it an axis of symmetry. It is written as Cn, where n represents 360 degree by theta. So this means that if I write an axis of symmetry like C2, C2 would mean 2 is derived from the value 360 by theta. So what is that theta by which with which you divide 360 to get 2? Obviously 180. So this is an axis of symmetry which is 180 degree. Of course, it would probably be useful if you were to say, okay, why don't we write C180? But the fact is, we want to use simple integers, simple values. So we will use integers as a subscript of C, and that will tell us exactly what the axis of symmetry is. So C2 is a 180 axis of symmetry. Rotate the object around that axis by 180 degree, you will get an object identical to the previous one. Let's guess what is C3. So what is that value which will divide 360 to get 3? Obviously 120. So that means C3 is a 120 axis of symmetry. Can you guess what is C4? Now C4 obviously is 90 degree axis of symmetry, and so on. So this is how we write the axis of symmetry. Now if the same axis allows for multiple angles of symmetry, then the smallest angle is chosen. Now say for example, a molecule is rotated by 180. You get the same identical object. Okay, so it's got 180 degree axis of symmetry. Now obviously if you rotate it by 360, it is anyway going to give you the same thing. any line passing through the object, and if you rotate the object by 360 degree around that line, you will get the same object back, which is why we said axis of symmetry has to have an angle less than 360. Now the second part being that if suppose I have a line around which if I rotate the object by, let's say, 180 degree, I get the same thing back. I rotate it by 90 degree, I get the same thing back. So if I have multiple angles for a given line, I will choose the smallest of them. So let's look at an object here. So this is a molecule, it's actually water. Red O and the two blues are H. Now imagine a line passing through this. If there is this line passing through this, you can clearly make out, if I were to rotate this, I'm going to flip this molecule. This blue is going to land here and this blue is going to land here. I'm going to rotate it by 180. So, the moment I rotate it, can you see the object is indistinguishable from the previous one? So this is a 180 degree axis of rotation, which means this symmetry element is C2. Alright, so now let's look at the second symmetry element. That is called the plane of symmetry. Now the plane of symmetry is going to be represented by POS. I'm going to refer to it as POS every time. And what is that? It is an imaginary plane that bisects an object in such a way that one half of the object becomes the mirror image of the other half of the object. So say for example you have an object and let's say you are cutting it with a plane, and the two halves that you get, or the two parts that you get, if they resemble each other in such a way that they are the mirror images of each other, this is the mirror image of this, then we call it the plane of symmetry. So let's take an example. I have this molecule which is like a triangle, cyclopropane, but I'm going to place it in such a way so that it is easier to see the planes of symmetry. So I'm going to tilt this in 3D a little bit. Okay, I'm going to keep it like this so that you can understand what the planes of symmetry are. Now imagine this plane. Imagine this plane is cutting this object. Won't you get two identical halves? Wouldn't the two halves be the mirror image of each other? Or wouldn't this plane behave like a mirror? That if you place a mirror and if you could cut the object with the mirror, the left side and the right side would become mirror images of each other. How about this one? Isn't the same possible with this vertex? So basically we are using one vertex and the opposite side. And exactly in the middle, and it will cut, you get two identical halves. How about this one? Isn't this also a plane of symmetry? Cut into two identical halves? There are three planes of symmetry. How about this one? Can you see a fourth one? Well, how about the plane of the molecule itself? It will cut the object and there will be one part on top, one part at the bottom. Remember, it's a three-dimensional molecule actually. You got two hydrogens here on this carbon. Let's say one up and one down, one up and one down, one up and one down. And they will all get cut so that one edge goes up, the other edge goes down. And you will get the top half and the bottom half being the mirror image of each other. Now let's get it for the third symmetry element. And that is the center of symmetry, often referred to as COS. Now this is something which you need to understand a little bit clearly, because it might take a while for you to understand. An imaginary point within an object such that if a line is drawn from any part or atom or molecule of the object to this point and then extended equidistant on the other side, encounters a similar part of the object. So if I were to have this as a molecule, now you need to understand what this is. This is, let's assume it's a hexagon, though it is actually not, but for the sake of simplicity, let's assume it's a hexagon. There is this CO group here, the NH group here. This is C double bond O, okay? This is N single bond H, N single bond H, C double bond O, organic molecule. H here on top, Me at the bottom, Me on top, H at the bottom. Now look at the center of this molecule. Center of symmetry, as its name suggests, will always be at the center. Now if I'll draw a line from NH through this point and extend it equidistant on the other side, I'll find an NH. If I were to draw a line from this H, the top H, to this point, extended equidistant, I find the bottom edge. Same for Me. And can you see it's same for CO? And another important fact is that this must happen for all parts of the molecule. If some parts are showing this property, the others are not, it's not a center of symmetry. Center of symmetry is identified only when all parts, all atoms, all groups can show this particular property of having drawn a line from that group to the center, extending it equidistant on the other side, you get the same thing back. A molecule can have only one center of symmetry. And center of symmetry is possible again only in even membered rings. So if you are ever asked a question where you might be given an odd membered ring like a 3-membered ring or a 5-membered ring, you will never find center of symmetry there. A ring can have center of symmetry only when the number of atoms or groups in that ring or the number of points, the corners in that ring are even. So let's move on to the fourth one. This is a tricky one. It's called alternate axis of symmetry, AOS. Also known as improper axis of symmetry or rotation reflection axis of symmetry. Now spend some time in this because it's not intuitive. This is an imaginary line drawn through an object about which, if the object is rotated by an angle theta, that is less than 360, as we always do, and then further followed by reflection through a plane perpendicular to this axis, results in an object which is again identical or indistinguishable from the previous object. Now what the hell is this? Simple. First do the rotation axis, just like you do rotation axis, okay? You rotate the object by a certain angle through an axis. Now you're not going to get the same thing back, by the way. And I'm talking about that particular axis where probably you won't get it. And assume that the molecule has an improper axis of symmetry around that axis. So you take an axis, rotate the object by a certain minimum angle, and then keep the object as it is. Now choose a plane perpendicular to this line. So if the line is like this, the plane would be this. If the line is like this, the plane would be this, perpendicular to the line. And now, imagine you're cutting the object. Or not cutting the object, perhaps the best way to define would be that now make a reflection about this plane. Meaning the right becomes left and the left becomes right. So first you rotate by an axis, then choose a plane which is perpendicular to this axis, and then through that plane you reflect the objects. All objects below will go up, all objects above will go down exactly 180 degree. So there is a H here, it will go here. If there is a Me here, it will go here. So first make a rotation by a certain angle, and then after having done that, choose a plane. Remember, the plane should be perpendicular to the axis, and then make sure that every group or atom gets reflected through this plane. Left goes to right, right goes to left, top goes to bottom, bottom goes to top. So on one side and on the other side, they interchange position. Now the final object that you get after these two operations, if that object is identical to the previous one, is indistinguishable, then we say that object has alternate axis of symmetry. It is written as Sn. Again, n refers to 360 by theta. Meaning that if you rotate by 90 degree first, then do this reflection about a perpendicular plane. Now remember, 90 degree rotation is actually C4, and then but you don't get an identical object, so you don't say C4. You simply say 90-degree rotation, then reflection about a plane perpendicular. You get the same object back. Now instead of calling it C4, we call it S4. Because remember, you have not just performed one operation, you have performed two operations. One being rotation by an axis, second being reflection about a plane perpendicular to the axis. Now, a molecule having plane of symmetry always will have S1. So, any molecule that seems to show plane of symmetry, there will be an axis S1 in it, meaning you will rotate the object by 360 and then reflect it, you get the same object back. And it's pretty simple, right? Because if you cut the object, if you have a plane of symmetry, cut the object, this part becomes this part. Or another way of doing that would be rotate the object by 360. But the moment you rotate by 360, everything comes as it is. And then when you reflect it about a plane perpendicular, obviously the right will go to the left and the left will go to the right. After all, it was having a plane of symmetry. So remember, plane of symmetry is actually a special case of alternate axis of symmetry S1. A molecule having center of symmetry will always have S2. Now, a molecule having center of symmetry has S2. What does it mean? That it means that if you have a line passing through that point, rotating it by 180 first, and then reflecting it by left and right and top and bottom, you will get the same object back. Why is it? Simple. If you have an object here and you have an object here, they show center of symmetry, let's say. So this point gets reflected through the center and it goes here. Now first rotate it by 180. When you rotate it by 180, wouldn't this object go here and this object come here? Now, since you rotated by this axis, the axis going up. So remember, it was initially like this, it is now like this, rotate it and it comes here. Now when you reflect it by the plane perpendicular, don't you think this top will go bottom and this bottom will go top? Again, you get the same scenario. So remember, center of symmetry is a very special case of S2. So this means that plane of symmetry and center of symmetry are special cases of alternate axis of symmetry. So either you say S2, it implies center of symmetry, or you say S1, it implies plane of symmetry, or you can call it plane of symmetry or center of symmetry. But the question arises, okay, let's sort of look at this alternate axis of symmetry, okay? And then we'll look at a special case that I'm going to talk about. So this is the molecule. Can you see it has center of symmetry? Cl, Cl, H, 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 F, F. Now, first rotate by 180. This is the example I was talking about. First rotate by 180. So this comes here, this comes here, top stays on top, bottom stays at the bottom. Wouldn't it look like this? Just check. Pause the video if you want. Now use this reflection as the plane. Remember, the plane has to be perpendicular to the axis. Now if you reflect everything about this, meaning top goes to bottom and bottom goes to top, wouldn't you get this back? Isn't it identical? So a molecule having center of symmetry is nothing but S2. Rotate by 180 around that center of symmetry point and then reflected by an angle by a plane perpendicular to that. Let's take this example and let's take, can you see center of symmetry? CS3, CS3, HH. Now this line is in the plane of the screen, plane of the slide. Now I'm going to rotate this by 180, meaning I'm going to flip this molecule. The entire left will come to right, entire right will go to left. So if the molecule is like this, I'm going to flip it like this, 180 degree. It's like this. This is the axis. I flip it. So when I rotate it by 180, this is what I get. Now remember the plane, and I'm going to cut the object from this plane. This is the plane, the reflection plane. Remember, the axis was this and the plane is this. So when the plane is this, the top goes to bottom and the bottom goes to top. Wouldn't you get this. So now we are going to talk about symmetry types. We are going to talk about molecules based on the symmetry they have. How many symmetry they have, what symmetry they have, and stuff like that. So the first is symmetry types. And based on the presence or absence of one or more of these symmetry elements, molecules are categorized into three categories. The first are symmetric molecules. Now, for a molecule to be symmetric, the molecule must possess a plane of symmetry, and it can also, in addition to that, possess a center of symmetry, or in addition to that, it can also possess an alternate axis of symmetry, are called symmetric molecules. And besides this, the molecule may also have an axis of symmetry. So any molecule which has plane of symmetry, or and center, or and alternate axis. And when I say or and, it could be only center, it could be only plane, it could be only alternate axis, or it could be a combination of two, or perhaps it has all the three. So anything which has all these components are called symmetric elements. Axis of symmetry is not necessary to have. Out of the four, the symmetric molecules need only three. Any one of the three, or two of the three, or all the three. But axis of symmetry, it might have, it might not have, is not an important condition. So let's look at this molecule. It's a tetrahedron, perfect tetrahedron. Can you see if I were to cut this object through this plane, the H and the C and this H will get cut into half, equal half, and there are two hydrogens also here. It's symmetric. Now here two are different, but if I cut the object through BR and C, if I keep the BR like this, if I keep the BR here and the H here, then you can cut the axis through BR, cut the plane through BR, C and CL, and you will get the same object back. Or just try and understand in this situation. I got a BR here, I got a CL here. There are two H. Cut it through this. The BR will cut into two half. The CL will get cut into two half. Remember, don't think it is C and L going, B and R going. BR is a sphere. CL is a sphere. Sphere gets cut into half, it's half. Carbon gets cut into half, half. And there are two hydrogens on the left and right. They are also matching. So this is a plane of symmetry. The molecule is symmetric. And so this is a symmetric molecule. Now the question is there a molecule that does not have center, does not have plane, but only has the alternate axis of symmetry? Well, there are molecules like that. Now, that is an S4 axis. S4 axis means rotation by 90 and then reflection about a plane perpendicular to it. Let's check. And it will not have center, it will not have plane. Look at this molecule. It's a pretty complicated molecule. It's an 8-membered ring actually. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. It's an 8-membered ring. I got a double bond here, double bond here, double bond here, double bond here. I got one group, CH3, let's say, CH3, CH3, CH3. Now, if I were to rotate by this axis, you will see there is no center. Okay? There is no plane of symmetry as well. If you want to cut it from this plane, you won't get any identical half. There is no center. If this point gets reflected here, there is CH3 here, but there is no CH3 here. So it's not going to work out. But now let's look at this. If I were to rotate by 90 degree, only 90 degree, remember, not 180. 90 degree, wouldn't I get something like this? Just check for yourself. Wouldn't this line come here? Wouldn't this bond go here? And wouldn't these empty spaces would go here? And this empty space goes here, and this bond comes here, and this bond comes here. See? Now reflect it around this plane. Cut it from the middle. So this gets reflected down, I get this. This gets reflected top, I get this. Now, this bond gets reflected on top, I got this. And this carbon gets reflected here, I got this. Same happens here. This gets reflected here, I get this. This bond gets reflected on top, I got this. the space gets reflected bottom, I got the space. And this carbon gets reflected on the bottom, I got this. And this carbon without this blue bond goes up, it goes up. That is only S4. The second set of molecules are called dissymmetric molecules. Okay, I get this finally. This is S4. The second is dissymmetric molecule. Now, what are dissymmetric molecules? These molecules do not possess any plane of symmetry. They don't possess any center of symmetry, and they don't possess any alternate axis of symmetry. So they are somehow a opposite of symmetric element, symmetric molecule. So remember, in dissymmetric, you need not have plane of symmetry. In fact, you should not have plane of symmetry, center of symmetry, alternate axis of symmetry. And since we've already said plane of symmetry and center of symmetry are special cases of alternate axis of symmetry, it means anything devoid of alternate axis of symmetry is dissymmetric. Axis of symmetry is, as I said, is not a criteria even for symmetric molecules. It's not a criteria here. You may or may not have it. So look at this one. In this molecule, there is no plane of symmetry. Can you see? There is no center because of odd membered ring. And you can try whatever axis you want, you will never find an alternate axis of symmetry. But it will have a plane of symmetry. Look at this. If I were to rotate the object by this line, so if I were to rotate the object by this line, and I were to flip it, this will go here, this will go here, this will remain as it is. This is anyway center of the bond. But remember this H, the H will go to bottom. The Me will rotate. Remember, you're flipping it like this. So everything down will go top, everything top will go bottom. You'll get this. You can imagine for yourself. I flip it, the H goes down, the Me goes up. And the same will happen with these two also. So therefore, this is a molecule which has axis, but it is dissymmetric. Since plane and center of symmetry are special cases of alternate axis of symmetry, technically it is more appropriate to define dissymmetric molecules as those that are devoid of any alternate axis of symmetry and may possess, of course, the axis of symmetry. The next are the asymmetric molecules. They don't have anything. No plane, no center, no alternate axis, and as well as no axis of symmetry. No axis of symmetry, no plane of symmetry, no alternate axis. In fact, alternate axis is sufficient to say instead of center and plane. So no alternate axis of symmetry as well as no axis of symmetry. So this means that a dissymmetric molecule which doesn't have alternate axis and may or may not have axis, right? If it doesn't have axis, it is dissymmetric. If it has axis, still dissymmetric. But if it doesn't have axis, it is also asymmetric. And if it has axis, it is only dissymmetric. Meaning, all asymmetric are dissymmetric. But all dissymmetric are not asymmetric. There might be dissymmetric molecules which have axis of symmetry, like I showed you. They are not asymmetric. So that is the end of this particular video. And we discussed the symmetry elements and the various symmetry types that you have. And based on this, in the next one, we are going to talk about the optically active compounds. How to identify whether a molecule is optically active or not. We cannot find out what angle it will rotate with, which direction it will rotate with. As you saw in the previous one, we had positive rotation, negative rotation using polarimetry. But the fact of the matter is, looking at a molecule, you cannot guess that, but you can definitely guess, is it optically active or not? So with that, I thank you for watching this. This is Kalyan Kumar signing off. Have a great day. Goodbye. And again, thank you for watching.